It's the Infectious Groove Podcast, part of the Odd Pods Media Network. Recorded from Detroit, Michigan, and Jacksonville, Florida. The Infectious Groove Podcast is your source for jammy jams, album reviews, and the best in-depth music discussion. Thanks for joining us. Now here are your hosts.
Tropical storm be damned, we are still here and we are still bringing you an episode of the Infectious Groove Podcast. And actually, I just realized as that was coming out of my mouth, I should probably wait until this is recorded completely to say tropical storm be damned. But
so I take it you're the one in Florida?
I am the one that's sitting right in the middle of the tropical storm right now, as a matter of fact. But
okay.
no flickering lights, no bad wind right now, nothing like that. So my name is Russ. Welcome to the Infectious Groove Podcast. Michelle has the week off, and regular listeners know how much she adores that. So she is basking in her week off right now. However, you did hear a foreign voice to the show just now, and that is our guest from the Album Concept Hour. Brad is stepping in this week to do a unique episode with us. How you doing, brother?
Hey, what's going on? I'm doing all right. How are you?
Not too bad. So, you know,
besides the storm, of course.
When the storm's not even that big of a deal here, we got the outskirts of the Hurricane Ian that went through, and that was like much worse than what happened this time around. So,
okay. Yeah. Because I heard that, there was like a second one that is coming through.
Supposed to be, yeah. We'll see.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I don't know the particulars of all of it, but down here where we are, everything seems to hit below us and go way west, which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah. You're right in the sweet spot.
Yeah, just go around us.
Fingers crossed, knock on wood.
Right, yeah. So having said that, Brad, as I said, runs his own music podcast, the Album Concept Hour. And we always do this when we have our friends from the podcast community on with us. We always give them a couple minutes to tell them, hey, why is it that they should listen to what you're doing over there? And Brad gets a chance to audition for you, our listeners, for the next hour, because you're going to sit in with us as well. But having said that, tell everybody a little bit up front about what you do over there on your show.
Here's the elevator pitch, as it were. I have a podcast about concept albums mainly. It's, as in the title of the podcast. And we are a podcast that believes in listening to records start to finish and analyzing all of the themes and ideas that are being talked about in the album or not talked about in the album. And kind of getting to the bottom of what it all means,
Right on.
There's a lot of ways to break it down, musically, but we're not all necessarily musicians in the podcast, but we do love all walks of music, and we bring our knowledge and experience to everyone listening.
Right on. It sounds like
we have an older guy and us. So there's one guy that's maybe 10 years older than us, and we can kind of dig into his understanding of his time in music.
Right on. It sounds like you're going to fit in just fine here for two reasons. Number one, our show knows absolutely no bounds as far as the genre or decade of music that we'll listen to and discuss. And the other thing is, longtime listeners of the show are probably sick of me talking about it by now, but track listing, running order on an album is a huge thing for me.
So important.
Huge. And
yeah.
I'm already known as the old guy on our show, but a lot of newer, younger music listeners are so used to the single environment that they don't have any idea the time and energy that goes into something as simple as track listing. So
I think that it probably will come back though, because there have been a few times where it was singles ruled the day
for sure,
and then someone would come out a brilliant album that started to make people get albums again. So I feel like right now we're kind of waiting for that that brilliant zeitgeisty concept album that draws people back or something.
Well, you, me, and everybody else.
At least I hope. Otherwise, I'm just going to be, uncool for a long time. Because, I'm with you. I almost exclusively listen to full albums.
Right.
I'll listen to a playlist, but
So
if I have my choice.
As we go through the episode, and the more people hear you talk, the more they go, you know what, that Brad's on something. I need to check this show out. I would assume they can go to nearly any podcast platform, type in the album.
Yeah. You guys know the drill at this point. They I mean, I didn't even distribute them to some of the places that they're on. Like, they just kind of get all over the place.
That happened with us too. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't understand how it works anymore, but it's all over the place. You can check it out. The album concept hour, and we have about 145-ish episodes.
Right on. Yeah. So we're probably about neck and neck then. We're right around the same, we're around between 140, 150 right now.
Yeah. So did you guys start right before pandemic?
No. Nope. We started 3 weeks before the pandemic. Like we were like,
okay, yeah. We were like a few months before. So yeah, very close.
So what is cool about Brad sitting down to discuss our main topic with us this week is, and longtime listeners of the show will know that this is the type of thing we haven't done in quite a while. When the show was new in the early days, we used to do a lot of our your top favorite frontmen of all time or your favorite concept albums of all time. And we haven't done an episode like this in a while where we just kind of have a back and forth discussion over our favorites in one particular category. And the reason why I say Brad is going to be good for this is because I have to assume that track list, running order, and concept overall for these records are going to come into play. So Brad and I in the second half of the show are going to share with you our top 3 favorite rap albums of all time and discuss back and forth a little bit why each of those records are our favorites. So that is going to be fun, and look forward to that in the second half of the show. However, before we get there, we have a couple of segments we always take care of.
Feedback, John.
Don't worry about that. Right. There's rock and roll be without feedback.
So we have some feedback to share. In the first 2, I'm just going to read these back to back and then explain them to you or someone who may have missed last week's episode.
Yeah.
Our friends Sean and Chris write in and says, you guys need a shirt that says, quote, I did great with the boogers. And then the next piece of feedback is from our friend Garrett, who writes in and says, 5 boogers out of 5 on this episode. So
there's a theme here.
This stems from our regular co-host Michelle was on the program last week, and she was getting over a ridiculous cold that she had the week before, and she mentioned several times at the top of the show that she was going to do her best with the boogers. So she wasn't. Yeah, so she wasn't. Right. So she wasn't
planted
giving
a
us
seed.
Right. So she wasn't giving us a whole bunch of and noises like that throughout the entire episode, and rubbing around her microphone, that type of stuff. And at the end of the program, she had congratulated herself on doing very well with the boogers, thus the boogers ratings. So
it's good of her to check back with the audience at the very end.
Yeah. Just make sure everyone knows how she felt about herself.
I'm sure everyone was wondering.
Right.
Set it up.
Of course.
Chekhov's boogers.
Our friend Anthony from Twitter writes in, which Anthony now goes by Antihero Anthony, Taylor's version, which I think is hilarious. He writes in and says, finally, this was an album review of an album that I was already familiar with, because Anthony generally will listen to an album that he's never heard, then listen to our review of it. So with this particular record, he knew he knew it already. He said, I think Humble Quest is a really good album. I've been a fan of Maren Morris since her debut. Her song, My Church, is what made me a fan of hers. Her latest album, though, nothing on it that I would personally say is a stinker. To me, for a song to be a stinker, it has to be unbearably bad to listen to. Like, so bad the moment you hear it, the first words of the song, you're like, nope, and hit skip. My favorite tracks from her latest record are Circles Around This Town, I Can't Believe You, I Can't Love You Anymore, Nervous, and Detour. I will say that one of the weaker tracks, in my opinion, is Tall Guys. Overall, though, I feel like it's a really good album. I would definitely recommend it to others, and I would have given it a 7. I think she's improving and evolving with each album. So that was Michelle's album pick last week, was the latest from Maren Morris, Humble Quest. Okay. Everybody that was on the show last week, we had 3 of us on here. The ratings came in between about a 6 and a 7. So everybody was about the same as Anthony had to say. Yeah. Our friend Dave from the Beer Front podcast writes in and says, I had to pause when you mentioned Sorcerer by Stevie Nicks. I totally forgot about that. What a great track. Thanks for reminding folks. Which was rooted in the first time I'd seen Stevie Nicks solo was on that tour, the Trouble in Shangri-La tour. And we just went to see her a couple weeks back, and I had Sorcerer and Every Day stuck in my head, even though I knew she wasn't going to do them. Like I just had them, so they were part of my jammy jams. Sean and Chris clock back in about the episode and say that you guys totally nailed your review of Maren Morse's Humble Quest. It's safe background music, and even with it only being 38 minutes, I couldn't make it through it personally. Nothing bad, but it was just there, which was kind of what we had some thoughts on it too. Was like, this is not bad by any means, but there's nothing here that would make me be all about it.
Yeah.
Every so often, I will include a couple of comments from our YouTube channel. And this week, I just wanted to include one from a video we just had come out today, because a band that I think is criminally underrated and in many ways made their own bed as far as why they haven't been known for a long time is the Culture Club. So we had a video come out today about basically other songs other than their 3 or 4 hits that everyone knows.
I was gonna say, like, that's the one
Karma Chameleon, Church of the Poison Mind.
Karma Chameleon.
Do you really want to hurt me? Yeah,
I'm one of those that understands those 4 tracks
for sure, and they have a ton more. And like I said, this is a topic for another episode, but the band absolutely shot themselves in the foot exposure wise. Like every time they were gonna do something good, somebody in the band did something sweeping and dramatic that just like dashed all the hopes of any money and promotion going behind them. So having said that, they have a ton of great music that like no one knows because it was never promoted. So having said that, we had a friend leave a comment on our Twitter, or I'm sorry, on our YouTube channel. Culture Club was my band in the 80s. They were the first band that wasn't a hand-me-down from my sister, and they put me on a musical path very different from hers. Years later, I realized that it was probably my mom's love of 60s and 70s soul and R&B that led me to Culture Club. I've been lax in checking out some of their more recent material, but I definitely will, because you picked Black Money on your list of songs people should hear. Then I have got to hear the rest of the songs, which is that one. Black Money is a really good soul Culture Club song that's from the same album as Karma Chameleon. And if I played both tracks for you back to back, it's such a different song that you would be like, this is not, there's no way this is the same band,
Yeah.
So having said that, we have 3 YouTube videos every week, and we love it when people leave comments over there or leave comments on our Facebook, Instagram, whatever. You can also leave us a voicemail at 313-364-9899. Next up is my favorite segment that we do every single week, Our Jammies. It's our Jammy Jams. It's what we're listening to and why. And I'm going to go first on this because I have a history recently of forgetting to do my own Jammy Jams after I let the guests go because we get so engaged in talking about their Jammy Jams that I forget. And what's funny is all 3 of these that are my Jammy Jams this week are all because of either my podcast, your podcast, Brad, or a podcast guest spot that I have done. So
okay.
And I think this is the first time this has happened for me. But last week we had Aaron from I Had to Say It on the program to help us review the Maren Morse record, and he mentioned Faith No More, Midlife Crisis, which is the lead single off of their Angel Dust album. And I love that song so much. And it was like, all I need is someone to vaguely remind me of that song, and it will get put on repeat quite a bit for the week. And that's what occurred last week. Then, because of your podcast, I was going back and looking through some of the albums that you had reviewed, because I think it'll be out well after this episode that you're on of mine, but I'm going to be doing a guest spot on yours. So I was going through to look to see, I was scrolling back through and I thought, I'm going to find an album that I absolutely love and see what they had to say about it. And one of them that I found was Obscured by Clouds by Pink Floyd.
And that was an interesting one.
Yeah. And I love that album so much. That for me was a moment where when you first become a fan of a band and you come in at a certain era, and then you go back and you find what most people consider to be like the greatness. And then there's still other things for you to uncover that no one ever talks about, right? Yeah. So anytime I'm
absolutely one of those bands.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Obscured by Clouds is criminally underrated. And it's not the greatest record ever recorded, but it's a very strong entry in the Pink Floyd canon. Yeah.
Like especially where it is in the discography. Like it's between I forget the previous one, but Dark Side comes right after it.
Right.
And like they did, Live in Pompeii around the same time as well. So, I mean, they were at peak performance, in my opinion. Like,
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then I don't think this podcast appearance will be out yet as of the time of the episode that you're listening to right now, but the after Thanksgiving episode of the Beard Owl podcast, they were appropriately going to discuss the song Fat for that for that particular episode.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
So being the Michael Jackson expert that I am, they called me in because I'm a huge Weird Al fan and a huge Michael Jackson fan. So like they called me in and they were like, okay, you got to sit down with us to discuss Fat. So because of that, what's funny is I hadn't seen either video for either the short film Michael Jackson made for Bad or the Fat video in a long time.
Yeah.
And I spoke at great length about my memories of the two videos, but then realized that I hadn't really watched either of them in a long time. So the other day I sat down and I watched the entire 20-minute short film for Bad, and then I watched Fat right after it. And they're both so good for different reasons, obviously. But both of those songs I've just listened to way more often than not over this past week. So those songs were my jammy jams, and the listeners know this, but in case you're new to the show, we do have a Spotify playlist that we put out every Monday where we will have all the songs that we discuss in our jammy jams, and probably from the second half we'll throw some of the songs from the rap albums that we're going to bring up. But on that list as well will be Brad's jammy jams this week. So what do you got?
Oh, I got some real jammy jams because I've been listening to do you know about King Gizzard?
I know of them. I've been told I would love them and haven't listened yet.
Well, last month they put out 3 albums, and I've been listening to those 3 albums quite a lot. I actually put them, all 3 of them, on a playlist and listened to them on shuffle because I'm trying to just see which ones. Usually I listen in order, like I said, but at this point I've listened to each of them so much. I'm trying to see how they sound out of order. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Their album, I think their album Ice Death, Planets, Lungs, Mushrooms, and Lava, I believe is the title.
Okay.
It's always hard to remember. People just call it Ice Death. And that is just jam start to finish. I believe most of it does take place in like the same like recording time and the same couple of days.
Right on.
And it's King Gizzard getting to their like Jerry Garcia and like jam band kind of mode.
Right on.
Really, really, really great right now.
I grew up a GNR fan, so I don't know what it's like when a band puts out 3 albums in a month, let alone 3 albums ever.
Right? Yeah. They're one of those bands that makes all other bands feel lazy.
Good, they should.
Yeah. And that's not the 3 albums I mentioned are not including the other 2 albums that they came out with.
Yep.
And a remix album. Yeah, they're at like 25, I think, at this point.
Nice.
So yeah,
cool.
So it's honestly been hard to break myself from listening to like exclusively King Gizzard because like they cover so many genres and there's so much material. But in order to try to cut my break out of that, I broke into some Grateful Dead because I figure while I'm in the jammy stuff, might as well
it's in the family
see where
tree.
that came from.
Yeah,
you know? And I listened to the first album so far, and not a whole lot to report so far for the Grateful Dead. At least their first album is pretty standard 60s band stuff.
Right. Yeah.
No real long jammy numbers yet. So, I'm excited to see more or listen to more about the Grateful Dead. Though.
And the good thing about an artist like that is they've been around so long and they've gone through so many different changes as far as sounds and eras and whatnot, that there's probably going to be something there that you like.
Mm-hmm. And at this point, like the way I listen to music a lot of the times is I will usually find something through the podcast and I'll be like, I want to learn more about this band. And I start at the very beginning of this discography and work my way through.
Right. Yep.
Like, because to me, every band is a story in itself. You know what I mean? And I think Iron Maiden was one of the discographies I really enjoyed kind of going through, you know?
Right on.
But,
so we got King Gizzard, a little bit of the Dead so far. What else we got?
And then this one is one I throw on pretty regularly. And recently I threw it on again. This is Clutch's The Space Grass Collection.
Right on.
Which has most of the tracks from their self-titled album from the 90s. But Clutch is just a really, really good how would you call it? Southern metal, Southern rock.
Yeah, I think so. I'll tell you one thing about
doomy,
Clutch, man. I've been to one Clutch show my entire life, and
tight.
That's a dedicated fan base, man. Those people are not kidding around about Clutch.
Dude, well, I mean, they have some real good shit, man. Like,
yeah.
That's why it's one of my regulars. It's like every now and again, I'm like, you know what? I need to hear the Space Grass collection.
Right. No, I get it. Yeah. So, and it's cool to have that diversity in there too.
Oh yeah. Because they do like the Southern rock, like just it's clearly Southern, but it's also like clearly its own thing. Like I don't know, like he has this kind of like the singer's got kind of a fairy tale sing-songy kind of way of approaching lyrics. Like love me some Clutch. I don't know nearly enough about their full discography though. I've never done the deep dive because I love the Space Grass collection so much. I'm like stuck on the Space Grass.
I've done that with artists before too.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to go backwards because I don't know if it's going to be as good as this.
I know this is an entirely different thing, but I around this time last year got super heavy, and I still am into the latest effort from Billie Eilish, her Happier Than Ever record, and I know everyone on earth was way into her off the record before that. And I love her latest effort so much that I'm literally scared to listen to the one before it. Like I'm scared that I'll listen to it and be like, oh, I don't like this anywhere near as much. So I'm still not. Yeah. I haven't gone back that way.
Yeah, that fear can hold you back from good albums sometimes.
Yeah, I know. I'll get there.
Like for me, like Pink Floyd, like was a band kind of like that. I never really went into the early discography, and now on my podcast, we're on our way like backwards through their discography.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go back to the future to the Division Bell. So.
Right on. Cool. Is that, I mean, not that there should be more, but is that what you got for your Jammy Jams this week?
That's what I got for my Jammy Jams. Yeah.
Right
I got to save some for my podcast or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I can dig it. Cool. All right. Well, if you like what you heard so far from Brad, you're sure going to like the second half of the show because we are going to switch it completely from metal and to Pink Floyd and Weird Al and everything. We're going straight into rap. During the second half of the show, we are going to talk about our top 3 favorite rap albums of all time. You're listening to the Infectious Groove Podcast on the Odd Pods Media Network.
I'm Richie, a.k.a. Midnight Agent Raw.
I'm Devin, aka Special Delivery Dev.
We're the Super Media Bros Podcast. And each week, we give a comedically informative take on movies,
music,
television,
pro wrestling,
and much more. Check us out at supermediabrospodcast.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else that you can listen to podcasts. Shades on.
We're off.
Hey, I'm Lauren.
And I'm John.
And we host the Beard Al Podcast, the podcast where we talk about 2 of the greatest things in the world, beer and Weird Al.
And a lot of other things. We're funny.
Yeah, that's basically what I told him to say. Good job with your script.
Listened.
Yay! But no, seriously, we try and pair a beer with a Weird Al song and talk about both things and go where the conversation takes us. It's fun, I promise. You'll like it.
Yeah, I mean, if you like talking about random things as well as, fine craft beers and some wonderful craft music.
Welcome back once again. My name is Russ. Michelle has the week off, so filling her chair this week is Brad from the Album Concept Hour. Welcome in, Brad. Now, one thing that I didn't say ahead of time that I can just give you a quick background on myself and then you kind of be prepared to tell us as well. As far as how you got into the rap genre. Now, for me personally, what's interesting is, and this is why I'm known as old on the show, I was around well before rap was even a thing. And it's when it started to really make its way into pop culture. And, I grew up in a very, very, very white part of the suburbs of Detroit, probably about an hour north of Detroit. Yeah. And when there's a very famous incident where I was buying LL Cool J's Bigger and Deffer on CD. It was actually one of the first 3 CDs that I ever bought. And the cashier at the Kmart told my mother that she wasn't sure that my mom should let me listen to music from those people. So that will give you an idea. Of how white the area was that I was from. And but what's interesting about that for me is that I got to see rap evolve from something I had no idea what it existed, and to go through so many phases, and I saw it in real time. So having said that, in the first half of the show, you're talking to us about jam band stuff, and you're talking to us about metal and whatnot, and you're obviously a rap guy because you're going to be here talking about it. So what does your story look like? Like when was the first time you heard of rap, and what was the first thing that made you go, all right, I can dig that?
So I have a kind of complicated history with rap. When I was younger, I was raised in a very conservative household, that secular music wasn't allowed, and I took that very seriously. So for a long time, I didn't indulge in rap at all. But I lived in Beloit, Wisconsin, which is I'll just say it's even parts white, black, and Hispanic.
Right on.
So rap was the thing. Rap was the music in the town. You know what I mean? That's what everyone cared about. That's what it was playing at the dances. So it was all around me. And I unfortunately didn't really appreciate it until I was fully out of Beloit and on my own.
Yeah.
And one of the albums that kind of brought me into it finally, we're going to talk about tonight. It's Wu-Tang's 36 Chambers. And it was funny because when I look back at it, it's like I can tell which songs that I secretly loved, but I couldn't say that I loved, you know?
Yeah.
So it was definitely my guilty pleasure kind of thing. And eventually, with Wu-Tang and 36 Chambers, I finally was like, okay, it's all clicking into place now.
You touch on a good point too. I think at least for me in the era that I came up, and definitely through the 90s, at the time, rap was, to some extent, was seen as a rebellious thing. You were, oh, I'm going to listen to rap because I'm rebelling. And for me, that gave me shades of what it must have been like to be a rock and roller in the mid 50s.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, well, we'll get into this and start talking about what some of our favorite rap records of all time. Now, I will tell you the first two that I'm going to talk through, we'll bounce off each other on these, but the first two for me are in no particular order. I love both of these as much, but the last one I'm going to mention is undoubtedly my favorite rap album ever in the history of the world.
Pretty much how I'm doing it.
Same way too.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
And we'll get to it, but there's one that's very that's not even in my three that could have been my number one as well. And I know that makes no sense right now, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Well, yeah, when you talk about top three, it's like, oh man, which they're all kind of vying for one,
Right. Yep. So as far as mine goes, the first one I'm going to bring out of the gate is what I feel is a classic. It's special to me because it is the very first rap album I ever heard in my life. And you ever watch a sitcom or a movie or something and you go back and you watch it years later and you're like, oh, how did I think that was cool? You're like, oh man.
Yeah.
Well, every time I hear this record, I think, man, I was astute for a 7-year-old, wow, did I have good taste back then? And that is Raising Hell by Run DMC. That record is so much fire all at once. And it laid the groundwork for a ton of stuff that people wouldn't even begin to accept for another 10 or 15 years. When you look at it's almost cliche to mention Walk This Way. But without Walk This Way, that was
a big deal.
Anybody who happens to listen to the show, if you were listening to rock music in the late 90s, you're welcome. As far as bands that may not be so in vogue now, but Limp Bizkit, POD, all those bands that got huge. Faith No More, even back in the late 80s, early 90s, Rage Against the Machine. You don't get any of that without Run DMC pioneering this. And then of course there's classics like It's Tricky, the title cut, Raising Hell, stuff I grew up in a very sheltered household, and I know this sounds cliche to say this. I know this sounds cliche, but I didn't know what racism was until I was 15, 16 years old, and I heard somebody at school say the really bad word, and I asked my parents about it. Yeah. And my parents were like, oh yeah, that's because some people don't like other races. And I was like, what? And so having said that though, years before that, there's a cut on here called Proud to Be Black that I was like, well, why would you? Because I didn't know anything about the struggle. You know what I mean? At all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's a masterpiece from start to finish. And now, again, this is going to make me sound old, but nowadays people have a couple of laptops or one laptop and they consider themselves a DJ. And I mean, this was when,
Yeah.
Jam
It's a lot easier to do than it used to be.
Yeah. Jam Master Jay was literally with 2 steel wheels cutting those beats and making those things happen. And the riffs that some of those songs are based on, like if you take It's Tricky, it's based entirely on My Sharona, but it's manipulated in a way that I know people that have heard It's Tricky for 10 years. And I've been like, oh, you hear the My Sharona hook? And they're like, no. Oh my God, I hear it now. Like that to me is creating something new.
Yes, absolutely.
And again, paying it forward. You're welcome, the 90s, as far as like the use of, and I would argue that it was used more creative. Before the copyright destroyed, whatever happened with copyright kind of destroyed samples as far as like the accessibility to them. It was down. It was, not completely downhill, but there was a slight dark period in the 2000s, I will say. Well, I agree. But yeah, so for me, that one, and like I say, to bring it back to what I said before, I used to, back in the mid 90s or the late 90s, I would be like, I'm going to play Run DMC Raising Hell again. And then almost every time be like, oh, please don't suck. Like, please don't think.
Oh, right. Like you don't want to phase out in your mind.
Yeah. I hope this wasn't awesome when I was a little kid and now it's not. Like, no, now it's like, holy crap, that is even bigger than I even thought it was. So, so that's what I'm going to kick my list off. What do you want to go right to that Wu-Tang one, or is that?
I was going to start with the Wu-Tang one, although I will say that Run DMC definitely was one of the main inspirations for one of the other ones that I'm going to talk about. But yeah, Wu-Tang 36 Chambers or Enter the 36 Chambers. There's so many different ways people refer to it. Right. But everyone knows what the one I'm talking about.
Everyone who's listening to this knows what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got all the fucking classics, and this is the first rap album that I listened to start to finish and enjoyed the entire thing. There was, because like I had tried to listen to like rap albums, like I think I when I was a teenager, one time I found out about T.I. from like the Justin Timberlake connection or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, that guy seems cool. So I got his T.I. versus T.I.P. I listened to it one time and I was like, so that's a rap album. And then I didn't listen to another rap album for a while.
Sure. Yeah. It's almost like with country. It's like if somebody professes they don't like country, it's because they had a bad experience with a country album,
Yeah. Like genres, aren't to blame usually.
Right. Yep.
It's usually just some whoever gets really popular with the genre just ruins it.
Yep.
But yeah, this album just like, first of all, I was in my like early 20s. I was in the perfect like mental space for this album to hit perfectly. My friend had it on vinyl, so this is how we experienced it. Also part of the reason I love vinyl too, because I wouldn't have listened to the whole thing if it was like on a playlist or on an iPod.
Yep.
And yeah, with all the sketches, the torture sketch fucking is so classic. By the way, word to people that want to play some Wu-Tang in the bar. If you play the Method Man song, a lot of times they'll have the murder thing in the intro of the song.
Nice.
So it's always a fun time. Just start to finish, like it is one of rap's really important albums. Like it's a turning point for just, I mean, it basically broke out a whole new like subgenre of rap overnight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't say enough good things about Wu-Tang Clan.
Wu-Tang too, for me, is one of those things too where you don't see, almost in any genre, you have groups who split up, they go their own way, they all do solo stuff, or it ends up in a big hullabaloo. And it's like Wu-Tang is the ones in rap that were like, oh no, we're still a gang the whole time. Like when people when people did movies or side projects or whatever else, it was never, like, and I'm putting this in my own house here, but like Journey or Van Halen are the two that come to mind where the, one person was like, oh, I'm going to do this thing, but I'm still in the band. And like, no, you're not. You're testing the waters to go on your own, And that was never the case with Wu-Tang.
Yeah, it was planned from the gate. Like everyone is going to have a solo career. Like there was always a master plan, which I always thought was cool with Wu-Tang too.
For sure.
Yeah, they're just so like forward thinking and entrepreneurial, as people. Yeah, just they're fucking legends, and all of their albums after this, like you can listen to a bunch of Wu-Tang albums, just pick any from different time periods, and there's some good shit.
Oh, I agree. Yep.
So yeah. Oh, I wrote down a quote from each album of mine that just this listen through I really enjoyed.
Right on.
This quote is I forgot who's saying it, but charged by the system for murdering the rhythm.
That's so rad. Yep.
Good fucking line. What's your next one?
So the next one that I have, and it's funny, I made a quick note when you were talking just now about this because I realized that the next one on my list is the first rap album I listened to from front to back. It was because I picked up Raising Hell, I picked up LL Cool J's Bigger and Deffer, I picked up Beastie Boys' License Ill, and all the way until this next album came out, everything for me was very cherry picking, especially because of the CD age, So like I'd throw in License Ill and go right to Brass Monkey or right to Paul Revere or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, this record captivated me from the get. And years later, I reflected on why. And that's OG by Ice-T. This record is so monumental. And Ice-T is one of those cats that nowadays people don't even begin to realize. Like,
he's the Law and Order guy.
He's the Law and Order guy. I saw him on a commercial the other day. And by the way, I'm not hating. I'm not,
No. But that's what like Zoomers probably think. Well, I don't know if Zoomers are even aware of Law and Order.
Yeah.
But
well, if you want to know who Ice-T is, go back and listen to this record, OG. And again, and my background again comes into this because this is well after PE, in the timeline of rap, rather, well after PE had already started to tell people, hey, things aren't okay, in certain parts of the country, and then definitely NWA came along to go, by the way, they're not kidding. Things are not okay.
Not great.
Right.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, Ice-T was the thing that broke wider to where that was the first thing that I heard. So, and at the time I didn't know. I'm like, there aren't even any like big hits on this, right? Well, New Jack Hustler was a big hit and closely associated with the movie, but there wasn't anything where I was like, this is a big hit, so I'm going to listen to that intently. So I just listened to, and years later, I realized it was because I was getting an entirely different perspective on life in our own country from a person who knew way more about life than I did. Yeah. And this record's probably most famous for having the song Body Count on it, which it's like right in the middle of this rap record is this speed metal song. And then I
was about to bring that up for why maybe he caught on so
it's possible. Yeah. I remember that being a big deal after, because they really got into a problem when the full Body Count album came out with the track that everybody objected to and everything on there then. But the song that's on Original Gangster.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I'd rather not say it. But yes.
Yeah. Have to.
It's like the Wu-Tang thing. We all know what track I'm talking about. But the song that's on there from the band Body Count is just a song called Body Count. And I just remember being like, holy crap, I didn't even know you could do that, let alone right in the middle of a...
Is this allowed?
Yeah. And one thing that I like about what I feel is the glory era of rap, which, for me is like 85 to like 2000, is
that's fair.
Rap shares in common with country, and I'm serious when I say that, the ability to have stories told. And where even individual songs or full albums will take you on a journey. And there are so many songs on here. The first one that springs to mind is a song called Midnight, where he literally, it's just him telling you, how everybody says, when you're a kid, people say, oh, nothing good happens after 9 p.m. or whatever, this is him walking you through exactly what no good is, And it's the song is like an hour by hour recounting of what goes on between midnight, and the song ends with, I looked at my clock and it was, the cops bust through with no goddamn warning. I looked at my clock, it was 6 a.m. and that's where the song ends, like,
Oh, damn.
yeah, it's really, really, really
That's
cool.
fun.
Yeah, it is. And it's just a fantastic album. So
Yeah.
that's another one that's a cornerstone for me. What do you got in, not in second place, but as your second album here?
Second album here is going to be my favorite Kendrick Lamar album, and that is To Pimp a Butterfly.
Right on.
I will say I've been on a different podcast, and I've said Damn is the best concept album by Kendrick Lamar, but this is my favorite. This one, like, I don't know, it's hard to explain how it impacted me, but like it was the first time that I really fully understood Kendrick Lamar. This was Kendrick Lamar was someone actually my little brother was listening to. Like, he was like 10 years younger than me, and I'd like go back to town, hang out with him, and he'd be listening to Kendrick Lamar, and I was like, oh shit, dude, like I gotta figure out what the heck is going on with this new rap stuff, like,
Right.
Otherwise I'm gonna lose relatability with my brother, you know what I mean? So once To Pimp a Butterfly came out, and I started to hear like All Right come out, and just the I don't know, the sonic experience of the album and how big it is, and how big of a swing it is, like conceptually, like is just it's one of my favorite concept albums in general.
Kendrick Lamar for me, and this is so weird, but I came to Kendrick Lamar through, there's a really, really good R&B cat out of Michigan called Mayor Hawthorne. And he does really, really good, what most people would call blue-eyed soul. And he, however, I don't even know how. I mean, I know people know of him outside of Detroit, but like he's very much a Detroit and a Michigan thing. This guy, Mayor Hawthorne. And Snoop does a guest rap on his second record, and then on his third album, Where Does This Door Go? Kendrick Lamar has a guest verse on this song called Crime. And
oh shit, I haven't heard that.
Oh, you should. Mayor Hawthorne.
I thought I've heard all of his verses.
And I will tell you, if you like this song "Crime" by Mayor Hawthorne, you should stop what you're doing, start the record over, and listen to the entire album straight through, because it is so much fire. But it's one of those things where, and like you said, you thought you heard all of his verses, right? At the time, because the record's, I don't know, 10 years old now, I'd guess, but I was like, listening to this album, and I was like, who in the hell is rapping on this cut? My God,
fuck.
Yeah. And then I went back, and it was like somebody else in the room was cooler than me or something, and was like, yeah, it's Kendrick Lamar. And I'm like, oh, who the hell's Kendrick Lamar? So I went back and dug in the same way.
Yeah. I remember seeing those verses on like YouTube videos and shit, like him on random verses. My brother would always show me them.
Yeah.
One of the best of today for sure.
As far as if by today you mean physically 2022, there's no one of.
Well, yeah, I mean, I believe he's the GOAT.
Yeah,
but, so I know people like to debate that stuff, but
the one that for me,
there's no need.
For me, there's the top album of all time that I have for my number one rap album of all time, and it actually is this gentleman's second record, but it could have been his third. But I could have gone either way. But because I heard the second one first, I'm going there. Eminem, the Marshall Mathers LP, I think is a stunning work of art. And now Eminem is one of those cats. Again, I was from Detroit at the time. And
oh, shit. Right there.
Okay, but you know that thing where a movie comes out and everybody tells you it's the funniest movie they've ever seen, and you have to go see it, and you reach a point where you're like, I'm not going to see that movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand.
When the Slim Shady LP came out, at least 150 people too many were like, you've got to hear this album. You've got to hear this album. And I was like, nope. Okay, I'm done. There's no way it's going to be that good. If I hear this record, it's going to be a letdown. So when we were leading up to the second LP coming out, I was actually working for Best Buy at the time, and one of the cashiers, I was leaving my shift, and one of the cashiers there was like, "You're such a music guy. I can't believe you refuse to listen to Eminem. Like, I'm going to buy you his new album right now if you promise to listen to it."
Tight.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. And I lived like an hour away from the store at the time. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'll get in the car right now and put it on. Jesus Lord Almighty. For a year, that was my drive to and from the store, was that album. Just it's so brilliant. There's things that have been completely played out through the miracle of, radio and overexposure, The Way I Am or Stan. But if you go, I don't know, 6 months or a year without listening to Stan and then listen to it again, your mind will be reblown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That is a work of art, like a timeless piece,
Yeah. And even the controversial tracks on there too, like Kim, it's, to me, good art can make you feel wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that song to me leans toward, it should, I think it should make everybody wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it leans on the side of good art, in my opinion. Like, I think there's so much emotion being thrown on that track.
Yeah.
That you have to respect that.
Yeah.
So
that's something that we're doing the one with Without Me.
That's an Eminem show. That's the one that could have replaced this, honestly.
Yeah, no, they're both. We were kind of thinking which one is the best one? It's hard to say.
For me, it's the one I'm listening to at this moment. Yeah, whichever one I'm listening to at the moment is the one. And what's funny is the Eminem show the Marshall Mathers. No, the Eminem show has my favorite Eminem song of all time, which is Till I Collapse, is on there. Yeah. But then it also has Square Dance, which I can't stand, and Business, which I could do without.
Square Dance is silly.
Yeah, so those two tracks offset the fact that my favorite track is on there, and so I'm back to square one.
I see what you mean.
But where do you
stand with it? That's something we're going to grapple with, is the fact that there is some uncomfortable lines, there's some uncomfortable words that he uses. There's but I would say that for Eminem, he's doing it for a reason. He's using it generally for a reason,
right?
To make to drive that point. But
that's how I feel about it. And we did on this show, we reviewed. Geez, it's been at least 2 years now, but we reviewed either the Marshall Mathers LP or the Eminem show, and we have a diverse listener set on here, and we had more than a few listeners chime in and say, "I was wondering how you guys were going to handle the wording in this song or that song," and we had a lot of people that respected our views on it, and we in turn were like, "Oh, that's awesome that people give us the benefit of the doubt that we're going to handle this delicately." And as well as you can.
Yeah. They're important conversations to have in general.
I think so too. Yeah. I think great art should do that. Like you said, if he was saying certain things without purpose, then we would all just point and laugh anyways. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So having said that, the moment has come for you to share your, now I want to be clear. Are you saying this is your favorite rap album of all time? Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely hands down favorite rap album of all time.
Right on.
So 36 Chambers was an album that got me fully into rap.
Mm-hmm.
This album changed my life. This is Run the Jewels 2.
Right on.
And they're inspired by Run DMC, Killer Mike, and LP. That was actually part of the framework of the band.
Right.
And part of the reason that this is my favorite rap album is, for me, this is akin to the Van Halen record we're going to be covering, 1984. It is start to finish, just no filler, just all the greatest sounding, top of their game shit. And then it's over. You know what I mean? It's explosive and it's done. There's a lot of great stuff. So there's definitely, it slows down a few times, but for the most part, it is just, for me, Run the Jewels is the rock and roll band of rap. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Killer Mike actually loves metal too, which is what I enjoy about them. Killer Mike has a great appreciation for rock. And even though they don't really do rock in what they're doing, because it's hip hop, but I love LP, love Killer Mike. And part of what really reached out to me was their perspectives on the world and on self-realization and philosophy type shit. They were always talking about really deep stuff and the funniest tongue-in-cheek kind of way.
Right. Well, and there's something to be said for that approach to get more accessibility, right? As soon as you mention this record, the first thing I can think of is this record has the most diverse fan base I know of in quite some time across any genre, really.
Yeah.
And I think that there's something to be said for that approach.
Yeah. Yeah, and like they because like they bring LP, who is from New York, and then they got Killer Mike, who's from the South. Like usually with rap groups, you have
Right, it's all
like most of
regional.
the members are from the same region.
Yep.
I think that's part of what makes Run the Jewels so great is they transcend the regional boundaries
Right.
of rap music
Mhm.
entirely.
Yep.
And I will say, like, whenever they have Zach De La Roche on, that's when I think they are like peak perfect version of Run the Jewels. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
He's, for me, they're like unofficial third member because he appears like once an album usually. So.
Right. Yeah. At least.
But and the thing is with these albums, like I love all of the Run the Jewels albums like a lot, and this one is just the top of those four. You know what I mean? Like if I'm being honest with myself, the top three rap albums might be Run the Jewels, and we would just be talking about Run the Jewels all night.
Right.
But
yeah.
like Run the Jewels 2, I still think is the most just concise and best of what they put out.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to do that too. Like, not to go back too much to the Eminem thing, but like whenever I sit and try and weigh those two records out, I always think of like, there's more serious on the Eminem or Marshall Mathers LP than Eminem show. You know what I mean? And like, sometimes you have to weigh out what's more important to you. Like I know some people that like the clowning more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's, it's all, of course, art is subjective. So it's all whatever, floats your boat. I will say, I think, like I kind of warned's not the right word, but I kind of warned you, Brad, when we first got on before we started recording, and I gave that disclaimer to the listeners. We haven't done this type of episode in quite a while, but I feel like with the rapid fire nature of it, I feel like both of us made strong enough arguments for each of these records to where, like, if I was a listener and I hadn't heard any of these records, I would be like, well, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and listen to those now.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope that you get to, whoever is out there gets to experience one of these for the first time, because that's a magical thing.
Isn't it though? Like I forget what song it was now, but I was just saying to someone the other day that I forget what song was playing, but I said, man, if I could hear this song again for the first time in my life, it would be,
oh my God,
magical. Yep.
One day they're going to find out some scientific way to do it, and then we're all screwed.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I can trust it as long as they don't do a Black Mirror episode on it. Like if there's
that's what I'm worried about, though.
Yeah.
It's going to go all Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's going to end up being Black Mirror. So having said that, I have enjoyed this discussion a great deal.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
thanks for having me on, man.
Of course, brother. One more time, real quick, just let people know who you are and what you guys do on your show before we get out of here.
Well, I am Brad from the Album Concept Hour podcast, and we're covering a new concept album every week. They release on Monday for the free version, and then there's an early version on the Patreon. But I will say we also have a YouTube series that is called Music Movies Tonight on our YouTube page, Flyover State Park. Our first episode, we talked about Chris Gaines and the VH1 Behind the Life of Chris Gaines. Very strange journey. And we followed that up with another very strange journey with David Lee Roth's No Holds Barbecue. So, that's what's going on in my corner of the world.
I have a lot of thoughts to share on Diamond Dave, and I will be sharing them with you next week on your.
Oh my God,
on your program.
That I'm going to rewatch the No Holds Barbecue before our episode, just so I can get really in the David Lee Roth headspace.
Oh, I don't recommend trying to get in David Lee Roth's headspace.
No, that's true. I wouldn't recommend that to any of the listeners out there.
Yeah. Having said that, this program here next week, you are in for a double treat, because not only did you get to hear this episode this week regarding our favorite rap albums, but next week we are going to go back to one of our normal type of episodes that we've been doing lately. It's going to be a totally epic cover battle. We have a special guest lined up for that episode. Michelle will be back with us next week. And oh boy, this totally epic cover battle that we're going to have next week is the Battle of the Jolenes, the White Stripes versus the original version by Dolly Parton.
Shit.
Yes. Okay. And we are recording that episode 1 week from tonight. And as of right now, I am already worried about how I'm going to make a choice, or, because they're both just fantastic versions for different reasons.
Have you heard the Miley Cyrus version?
I have.
Halloween?
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I got to hear this last weekend when she got inducted. Apparently Rob Halford joined Dolly Parton on Jolene, and I got to hear that now too.
Ooh,
cool. But next week it's going to be quite a battle. That's
exciting.
Yeah, that is for damn sure. That's going to be exciting. So, having said that, that's what we got going for you next week. We sincerely hope that you enjoyed the discussion this week. If you listen to some of these rap albums and you've never heard them before, please let us know what you think of them. Either way, good, bad, or indifferent. You can get us on all the socials. You can leave us a voicemail at 313-364-9899. But until next week, as we always say about this time, without music, life would be a mistake. Bye.
The Infectious Groove podcast is hosted by Russ Robinson, Kyle Wimple, and Michelle Koselecki. Produced and edited by Russ Robinson. Intro and outro music composed by Chris Kimmel. Recorded with a Rode Podcaster Pro and Rode Pod mics.